Okay, this is where we're going with the video. I'm going to show the next pieces. Text, I'll show you how to do the text. You just get your text tool. You pick a font that you want to use. Now, I don't have Grunt Reaper on this font, so Halloween. I have to find the font. You know, you say Happy Halloween, right? Something like that, right? Get your font like that. Now I'm going to highlight the font with my text tool. Maybe make it bold. Maybe make it bigger, right? Maybe pick a different font or something like that. There you go. Now it's green font, so it needs a treatment, so I highlight it and go to, and I don't even need to highlight it actually. It doesn't have to be highlighted. I just need to go to Layer, Layer Style, Outer Glow, right? This is the default window that shows up, and what I did was, I don't know if you can see it, I changed from screen to normal mode, right? So this is normal mode. I changed the color to a Halloween orange, and then I upped the spread a little bit, and I upped the size a little bit, right? And I can also up the opacity and click OK, and there's your Happy Halloween text, right, with a glowing outer glow. I did some other stuff to the text too, but I'm not going to mention that now. And then how about a border? For a border, what I did was I got my marquee selection tool here, rectangular marquee selection tool, and I just draw a rectangle, right? Okay, there's my rectangle, right? And then I inverse the selection. So right now I've selected the inner part. I want to select the outer part. So select inverse. That inverts my selection. Now I need a new layer. Go down here, over here, new layer, right? And then I can just get my paint bucket, which is underneath this gradient tool. Hold down your mouse button to get to the paint bucket and paint. And there's a pink border, which actually I like better than what I had before, right? So there's my pink border. That's cool. Then Control D as in David to deselect. And if you want to put an outer glow on that too, all you do is you layer, layer style, outer glow, right? And you can mimic the same glow as your font, right? So go to normal and pick a different color, right? And then once again up the spread a little bit, just a little bit, and the size, and then you can adjust the opacity to your liking, right? And so now my border has an outer glow also. So now I have my text, my font with glowing, my border, and now how about these people? What if I want a shadow for the people? I'll show you that trick. For the people, what I'm going to do is I'm going to duplicate the layer, right? Yeah, no, I'm going to duplicate the layer. Yeah, I'll duplicate the layer. I'll drag this layer down to the new layer icon, which will duplicate the layer, right? Okay. Then I'm going to basically, let's see here, I'm going to turn on lock the transparency pixels, right? Lock transparent pixels on this new layer, and then I'm going to click on these black and white chips to turn it to black. I'm going to do edit, fill, and I'm going to fill the layer with black. And when I do that, it actually only fills the non-transparent pixels because I've locked the transparency on that layer. So that's kind of cool. Now I can turn off that lock transparency because I don't need it anymore. So now I just have like kind of a silhouette copy of what's underneath, which are these guys, right? I have a silhouette. Here, I'll show you. I just get my selection tool and drag it, and there they are, right? So now what you do is you just say filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and you blur your edges. So I'll blur the edges maybe 2 or 3 pixels, let's say. Click OK, right? I've got a blurred shadow essentially, right? And what else can I do with it? I can lower the opacity of the layer so it's a little see-through, right? They're now see-through. See that? And then now I just tweak it by doing an edit, transform, skew. I can skew it. Let's see here, like that. I can distort it, and all kinds of stuff. Edit, transform, distort. I can take it down here, right, so that it becomes a shadow. And it's just a copy of their feet. Move it into position the way I want it, right? Lay it down, put it under their feet, right? And then click OK when you're happy with it. Now I'm not happy with it yet, but I'm just doing it. I'm going to zoom in now and try to make it better. Alright, so it doesn't quite, it's not always an exact science on this one. So now the shadow is on a top layer of the people, so it needs to go underneath. So I'll drag that shadow layer underneath the group, and now there's a shadow underneath them. Now if I want to, I can be super anal about this and just, you know, make sure that it fits to them, right? Which is usually just a matter of playing with how the it's a matter of just playing with how the shadows are working, right? And it's not an exact science, so sometimes I have to delete parts of the shadow, and you know, like for instance, I could just take this shadow and duplicate it, right, and probably drag it over and have it work for the other end of the people's feet too, and nobody's ever gonna really tell the difference, right? Yeah, that looks good. Then I'll get my eraser tool and I'll erase part of it, right? And I'll probably erase all of this that is not on the block, right? Erase all that, right? Erase all this. Get a bigger eraser, right? Maybe meld the two layers together, merge down, Control E, merge them together, erase, so that the shadow's just on the block. And now there's a shadow underneath their feet. Yeah, it's kind of cool. And all it is really is this. Just kind of a see-through version of what they were, but in gray and see-through, transparent, and scaled down and distorted and tweaked, and on a layer that has its opacity set to, well, whatever. Now it's back up to 100, but I could set it down if I wanted to. If I turn them on, you see there they are, and there's their shadow. And then of course the lower layer, zoom the whole thing out, Control minus, and it's pretty cool.